When it comes to logo design, exploring and applying color to your design in the early stages is a good way to test your ideas and find what could work well for your logo design. Over the years of designing logos, I have developed a system that helps me narrow it down. So when it comes to thinking about color for my logo design, I typically undertake 4 tasks. 1. Consider color. 2. Sample color. 3. Apply color. And 4. Perfect color. In the last video, we looked at how we can research, pick and sample initial colors for our logo design based on our previous color consideration criteria. Now it's starting to get exciting and we are not far from completing our logo design. Once I am happy with an initial color direction and I have some colors I am excited about, I'll then want to see how the color will look in context. In the early stages of your development, it's good to spend some time on this, as you may stumble upon some really good applications. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate task 3, where we are going to apply colors to our logo design and see a variety of approaches we can take. So let's get into it. So here I am with my design process checklist. Once we have some color samples to work with and we have checked the task, we can now move on to task 3 in step 4 in phase 3. The 4th step in the visual artwork and design phase is finalize color. In this video, we are going to focus on task 3 and look to apply our sample color to our logo design. So here I am in Illustrator and this is what I'm going to be showing in this video. Here you can see my document includes a bunch of color tests and examples in different colors. In this particular example, I have gone for a flat approach. Here is another example where I have a gradient approach. And here is another example where I have explored the color dynamic a little more. In the early stages of my artworking, I like to explore how color can be applied to my design and the possible ways in which it could manifest. If you want to take a closer look at my color tests, you can find them in the course folder. The course folder comes with my complete logo design solution I will be demonstrating on this course, including all my design example files and documents at each step to aid your learning experience. The folder also comes with design resources, such as a logo design process checklist, process documents and templates, a project folder structure, color sample charts, and a logo proposal document example, all of which you can not only learn from, but use in your own design process. To get the full learning experience and use the resources to help develop your own logo project, I recommend you get the course folder. Download link with instructions is in the description. So with the course folder open, click into the design process example folder, click into the design folder, into the artwork and design folder, into the root 1 folder, into the color folder, into the 3rd folder apply color and click on the Illustrator docs and you will have the same documents I have open here. So let's see how I went from this black and white logo to my color tests. So here I am with the document where I left off in the previous episode. Here I have the initial colors I sampled in the previous episode based on my color considerations criteria I established earlier. If you want to take a closer look at my color samples, you can find them in the course folder. With the course folder open, click into the design process example folder, click into the design folder, into the artwork and design folder, into the root 1 folder, into the color folder, into the 2nd folder, into the sample color folder, and click on the Illustrator doc labeled example color samples. And you will have the same document I have open here. Now when it comes to logo design, I always like to get some initial color samples to work with before applying them, so I have something to work with. So right now I'm happy with the initial colors here, however I'm not going to assume these are the perfect samples. It's important to keep in mind that color is a work in progress. We don't have to get this right straight off the bat. A lot of exploration, testing and trial will go into color picking and applying color. Color can change all the way up until the end, until you perfect it. So don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to get it right the first time. It's normally a process of elimination and fine tuning. Now I may have a few colors I think are working here, but now I'm going to apply the colors to the logo. It's only when the colors are applied in context will I get a better idea and start to refine them more. So I'm going to start by grabbing my black and white logo I prepared earlier and start adding some color. To do this, I can simply open my comps I created earlier. With the course folder open, click into the design process example folder, click into the design folder, into the artwork and design folder, into the root 1 folder, into the form folder, into the versions folder and click on the illustrated doc labeled example combination mark, and you will have the same document I have open here. Now, for my logo design, I have a few alternative versions I'd like to present to the client, but I'm going to start with the first version. So here I have my first version and I want to see how my colors look when applied. So I'll begin by creating a new document, and I like to work in 1920 by 1080. So I'll set the dimensions to 1920 by 1080. I'll make sure the color mode is set to RGB. I'll set my artboards to 1 and click OK. So with my new doc, I'll come and select my new logo, copy, and back in my new document, I'll paste it in. Now in this instance, I have a combination mark with a logo mark above and a word mark below. When working with a logo like this, I like to focus on the logo mark first and then think about the word mark later. So I'll drag it up and out of the way for now, select the logo mark part and just paste this back into the center of my artboard. So now I'll jump back into my color samples doc, select my 4 neon colors, jump back into my color test doc, paste them and scale them down and pop them in the corner for reference. Now you may be wondering why I have 4 colors here. Well, for my particular project, I'm designing a logo for a dance music festival, and I want my colors to feel vibrant, fun, with a sense of euphoria. The number 4 for my design is particularly relevant here because the festival will be happening at 4 different cities around the world. So here I'm considering a possible color to represent each location and 4 colors for various types of emotion. Now for your logo design, you may not be working with as many colors like this. You may only have 1 or 2. So don't worry about having to work with as many colors. This is just specific to my design. When applying colors to your design, you can follow the same techniques as me here, but just use less colors. So with my color refs in place, I'll start to apply them. So I'll select my logo mark, make sure the color fill is selected, and with the eyedropper tool, I'll quickly apply my first color. Next, I want to see what my other colors look like. So I'll quickly duplicate my logo mark and align them up nicely. And with the eyedropper tool, select and pick each other color. So now I can see my 4 colors applied to each logo mark. So far, I think they are looking okay. The yellow on the white is a little hard to see, but I won't tweak anything just yet. Next, I want to see how they look on a dark background color. So a really easy tip here, I'll click on the artboard tool, select my artboard, press and hold Alt and Shift and drag over to the right to quickly duplicate the artboard. So I'll jump back to my samples, and in this instance, I was really liking the dark purple backgrounds. So I'll click to select the 2 boxes, copy, jump back into my color test and paste, and I'll start with the lighter shade. I'll grab it, copy and paste, and scale the block to fit the artboard. I'll right click, arrange and center back, and now I can see my logo marks on the background color. Pretty cool. I like how these colors really pop on the dark purple background here. So right now I'm looking at how the colors work on a light and dark background, and so far I'm pretty happy with this. I've got these 4 colors which are applied to these 2 colorways. Now I wonder what these would look like if I inverted the color schemes. Sometimes I like to see how logos can work on flat colors as well. So I'll use the same technique as earlier. I'll click on the artboard tool, select my artboard and press and hold Alt and Shift and drag over to the right to quickly duplicate the artboard. So this time I'll click and remove the contents, draw a box and fill with my first color, then duplicate the box, place it carefully next to it and select the next color. Next I'll select both boxes, duplicate and place carefully under my top 2 boxes. I'll fill these 2 new boxes with the other colors and then select them all and drag to fit the size of the artboard. So I'll come and select my logo mark, copy and paste and place it on top of my first colored box and change the color to the dark purple. Then I'll duplicate again and place on top of each color. And now I can see how a dark version looks on top of each solid color. And that's looking pretty cool. So what I have just done there is take a quick look at how the colors could potentially work. We have an instance on white, an instance on dark, and an instance on solid color. This could be something that I suggest to the client as a potential color system, where there could be a variety of colorways to add flexibility, vibrance and dynamic to the logo and potentially an extended brand. Now keep in mind this is all experimental at this stage. I may or may not use any of this. For now I'm just exploring how colors could work. I'll be making decisions later on which color approach I want to present to the client. So that's how color for the logo mark could work. So now I'm going to take a look at how the colors could work with the word mark. So I'll use the same technique as earlier. I'll click on the artboard tool. This time I'll hold shift and select all 3 artboards, press and hold Alt and Shift and drag down under to quickly duplicate the artboards. I'll remove the logo mark elements real quick, and now we have the space for the combination mark. So I'll come back up to my combination mark, copy and paste onto my new artboard and duplicate and scale them into size. With my logos in place, I'll select each and with the eyedropper tool apply a new color. Now I could leave it like this, but I'd like to get a bit of contrast between the logo mark and the word mark. In this instance, I want to change the word mark. So what I'll do next is select the word mark of each logo and change it to the dark purple color. Next, I'll select all the logos, click onto the next artboard, press Command plus Shift V on Mac or Control V on Windows and change the color of each word mark to white. And now we have an inverted version of the color set in dark. So again, I'll select a logo, copy and paste it across onto the next artboard, place it on top of the first box, change the color to a dark purple color and paste it repeatedly into each box. And now I have a potential color set for the combination mark. Easy. Okay, so up to this point, I have been thinking about how color could work on these individual instances here. Right now, I have 4 potential logos, but I'm going to need one after all. I'm going to need a master logo. Now I could choose one of these, but another idea I had in mind was to use these colors in one logo instance. So I'll click on the artboard tool, I'll hold Shift and select all 3 artboards, press and hold Alt plus Shift and drag down under to quickly duplicate the artboards below. I'll remove the elements real quick, I'll grab one of the logo marks I did earlier and paste it into the artboard. Now part of the logo concept here is the number 4. 4 dance music festival locations and 4 to represent the time signature most dance music is made in. That is also why I have 4 bars in each part of the logo. Now we already have 4 colors, so now I want to apply each color to each bar. So I'll select the middle part and set it to the blue color. I'll select the next bar and turn it to the green, select the next bar and turn it to the yellow. And now we have this interesting color treatment applied. So I'll copy and paste this onto the next page, and now this is starting to look very cool on the dark. The 4 colors work really well in this logo mark, particularly on the dark here. I think for a logo to represent euphoria, we have a nice mix of emotions. Also, the heart starts blue and gets warmer as it pulsates out. So we are elevating emotions in this logo as well. So I'm really liking how my design is coming together here. So now I want to see how it looks as a combination mark. So on my next page, I'll just remove 3 boxes, pull one down, change it to the purple color, and paste one of the combination marks. Pop them both into place and apply the new color set to each. And now we can see how color could work in both instances. So now I'm starting to get really excited about my design here, as it looks really vibrant and could be really cool for a dance music festival. So now I have a general direction for how this logo could work in this instance. I could either work in solid color or as a spectrum. Now for this particular logo design, I have 2 other alternative logo combinations I'm considering, so I'm quickly going to apply the colors to them. So using the same techniques as above, I'm going to duplicate my artboards down, I'll remove the elements, I'll bring in my other logo comps, change the color and duplicate it across and apply the new color sets. So one last time, I'll duplicate my artboard down, I'll remove my elements, I'll bring in my other logo comps, change the colors and duplicate across and apply the new colors. And now I have a nice spread of applied color tests to my logo design. Awesome. So with the artwork, I can now save this into my project folder. So I'll come up to File, Save As, and navigate to the project folder, into the design folder, into the artwork and design folder, into the color folder, into the apply color folder, and I'll name this Euphoria Colorway 1 and click OK. And I'll have a new copy of my applied colors. So this is how I normally apply my colors to a logo design in the early stages. I'll take my initial color samples and look how they can be applied to a logo, and I like to explore a variety of ways in the early stages to see how it could work. In this video, I demonstrated how I explored and applied my specific colors to my logo design. Now, you are welcome to follow along with my example, but if you are following along with your own design, I would recommend you apply your own colors right for your design. So if you're following along with your own logo idea, take a pause and carry out your process. Before moving on, undertake the same process I have just demonstrated and apply colors to your design. And be sure to share your color options and development over on Instagram or Twitter and tag me so I can see them. I'd love to see what you can come up with. Remember, you will be able to use these choices next when we come to perfect our design in the next video. Once you have applied your colors, let's continue. Now typically when applying color, you may have lots of ideas and one can spend a lot of time on this. This is just one example of how color could be applied to this design. For my project, I'm designing a logo for a dance music festival, so I need the logo to feel vibrant, fun, euphoric and contemporary. Now here is another approach I also looked at, where instead of flat color, I used a gradient effect. Here I'm considering using the same 4 colors, but as a gradient instead of flat color. And here we can see how a gradient could work as a background. Here is another example where I have looked at how I could push the usage to make more interesting color combinations. Now you may notice I have kept the document separate here. Now you don't have to do this, though I just like to compartmentalize my ideas so I can focus on each one at a time. So when applying color to your logo in the early stages, be sure to take some time and explore various ideas and the potential ways color could work for your design. You never know what you may stumble on. So once I have explored my colors to the point I am happy with, it's now time to focus on what I'm going to present to the client. It's now time for me to perfect and decide on which exact colors I'm going to apply to my logo design. In the next video, I'm going to demonstrate the final task, where we are going to perfect the colors for our logo design ready to present to the client in the next phase. So see you in the next video.